Okay, today we'll start the session. So, in the previous class, we were discussing about the leadership continuum theory and model, which was, researchers were Robert Tenenbaum and Warren, which was developed as a contingency theory in 1950. And in today's class, we will be discussing about one of the major theory that called path goal oriented theory and model. Yes. Yeah. So today we will discuss about the path goal leadership theory and model. Students, can you see the slide? Am I audible? Can anyone reply yes, sir?
Yes, sir.
Okay, perfect, perfect. Well, path goal leadership theory and model. So the path goal leadership theory was developed by Robert House, based on the early version of the theory by Evans, M.G. Evans, and published in the year 1971. See, what he did was House formulated a more elaborate version of Evans theory, one that included situational variables. House intended to reconcile prior conflicting findings concerning the task and the relationship oriented leader behavior. So, students, please understand the name itself suggests the path goal leadership model is used to select the leadership style. So, when we tell about the leadership style, it can be directive, supportive, participative, or achievement oriented, appropriate to the situation, that is, subordinate and environment, to maximize both performance and the job satisfaction. And very important, please note that the path goal leadership theory is based on motivation theories of goal setting and expectancy theory. So here, students, in this path goal leadership theory, the leader is responsible for increasing followers motivation to attain the personal and organizational goals. So what Robert House suggests to increase the motivation is increased by, please see the slide over there, by clarifying the followers path to the rewards available, to the rewards that are available. So what do you mean by clarifying the followers path to the rewards that are available? See, path clarification means that leader works with followers to help them identify and learn the behaviors that will lead to successful task accomplishment and organizational rewards. A leader should always guide the follower in order to take a right direction, and he should always guide the followers so that the followers or the team members can achieve the goal within the stipulated time, and then thus by giving the suitable reward for the employees or for the follower who is actually doing better in the team. And then the second one, increasing the rewards that the follower values and desires. So what do you mean by increasing the rewards? That's very important. See, you need to understand what is the requirement of the follower or what is the requirement of the employee. Based on that, you can increase the reward that the follower actually values for that, and even his desires will be there for that. Please see this particular diagram here, that is path goal leadership model variables within the contingency leadership framework. See, when we say about followers, those are subordinates, locus of control ability, and then we have leader who is none, because you can see just below that leadership styles, which is either directive. Directive means what? A leader who just gives the direction. Then either he should be supportive, and the leader who is participative is what? One who actually works with the followers. gets things easily, smoothly done, and achievement oriented. And then situation means what? Environment, which is formal authority, and the work group. So here, students, in this path goal, leadership theory, it is used to determine the employee objectives. Please understand this. The path goal model is used to determine the employee objectives and to clarify how to achieve them using one of the four leadership styles. So it majorly focuses on how leaders influences employees' perception of their goals and the paths they follow toward goal attainment. So the situational factors are used. See, these are, please see my cursor over there. The situational factors are used to determine the leadership style that affects goal achievement through performance and satisfaction. So a good leader is one who actually directs his team members or followers. So when we see about these situational factors, so first we will take subordinate. Please see my cursor over there, subordinate. So it's authoritarianism, which is the degree, the first one, which is the degree to which employees defer to others and want to be told what to do and how to do the job. Authoritarianism, okay? And then locus of control, we have already studied it earlier, which is the extent to which employees believe they control the goal achievement, which is internal, or if goal achievement is controlled by others, which is external, okay? And then please see my cursor here, ability. Ability is the extent of the employee's ability to perform tasks to achieve what? To achieve goals. So what I'm explaining now is it's a path goal leadership model variables within the contingency leadership framework. So first I've taken subordinates and then environment. The situation is concerned, environment situational factors, which can be task structure or formal authority and work group. We will see what exactly is this task structure, students. Task structure is the extent of repetitiveness of the job. Okay, formal authority means what? It is the extent of the leader's position power. And always note that the task structure and the formal authority are essentially the same as fiddlers. We discussed there. And last is work group, which is the extent to which co-workers contribute to job satisfaction or the relationship between the followers. So it is called work group. And note that House identifies work group as a situational variable. However, under the contingency framework, it would be considered a follower a variable. Okay, so next we have the leadership style. Please see my cursor over there, students. Leadership style, which is directive. Directive means what over there? The leader provides high structure. Directive leadership is appropriate when the followers want authority leader. That means he is not participative. He just directs. So when the followers want authority leadership, they have external locus of control and the follower ability is low. So students, please understand, the directive leadership is also appropriate when the environmental task is complex or ambiguous. Formal authority should be very strong and the work group provides job satisfaction. And then we have supportive, the second leadership style. So here what happens? Supportive leadership is appropriate when the followers do not want autocratic leadership. Autocratic means what? Dictating, or he expects all his people to listen to him. So he is not a participative kind of a thing, wherein he expects everyone to participate and give a proper solution for that. Whatever he tells, that is the solution. That is autocratic. So when the followers do not want autocratic leadership, they have internal locus of control and follower ability is high. So students, please understand this supportive leadership is also appropriate when the environmental tasks are simple, formal authority is weak, and the work group does not provide job satisfaction. And then next we have, nowadays what we are seeing is the participative style of leadership. The third one here, please see my cursor, participative. So the leader includes employee input into decision making. And participative leadership is appropriate. Please understand, I'm repeating. This participative leadership is appropriate when followers want to be involved. They have internal locus of control and follower ability is high. And when the environmental task is very complex, so authority is either strong or weak, and even the job satisfaction from the co-workers is either very high or low. So here the leader expects all his people or all his members to take the decision. And then the fourth one is called achievement oriented. So what is this achievement oriented leadership style? So here the leader sets difficult but achievable goals, and he expects followers to perform at their highest level, and he even rewards them for doing so. Right? See, the leader provides both high directive and high supportive behavior. So in case of achievement oriented students, the leadership is very appropriate when followers are open to autocratic leadership. They have external locus of control and the follower ability is high when the environmental task is simple, authority is strong, and the job satisfaction from the co-workers is either high or low. So this was about the path goal leadership model variables within the contingency leadership framework. The same thing, whatever I have told, I have explained here. So the situational factors, just now I explained to you about the subordinate, that is authoritarianism, which is the degree to which employees defer to others and want to be told what to do and how to do the job. And the locus of control, already we have discussed in the earlier unit. Right. So all these things we have discussed just now, right? The task structure, that is formal authority, and the work groups. Next, we will go to leadership styles. Again, we know that is directive and supportive, participative, and achievement oriented. Normative leadership theory and models. See, students, please understand an important leadership question today is, when should the manager take charge and when should the manager let the group make the decision? So in the year 1973, Victor Vroom and Philip Yeton published a decision-making model to answer the question, which was like, when should the manager take the charge and when should the manager let the group make the decision? So what they published in the year 1973, they published a decision-making model to answer the question while improving decision-making effectiveness. And Vroom and Arthur Jago refined the model and explained it 4 models in the year 1988. So the 4 models are based on 2 factors. please understand these two factors, which are individual or group decisions and time driven or development driven decisions. So what is this normative leadership theory and models? So the normative leadership model has a time driven and development driven decision tree that enables the user to select one of the 5 leadership styles. Which are they? Decide, consult individually, consult group, facilitate, and delegate. So appropriate for the situation, which include 7 questions or variables in order to maximize the decisions. So the normative leadership model fit into the contingency leadership framework variables. So students, it is also called a normative model because this provides a sequential set of questions that are called as rules or even norms to follow to determine the best leadership style for the given situation. So what we understand here is, to use the normative model, so we must have a specific decision to make and have the authority to make the decision and have specific potential followers to participate in this decision. So the normative leadership model has a please understand this this particular sentence. The normative leadership theory model has a time driven and development driven decision tree that enables the user to select one of the 5 leadership styles, which includes decide and consult individually, consult group, facilitate, and delegate. Now let me explain this each 5 leadership styles in a very simple way. So when we speak about decide leadership style, so what do you mean by decide here? The leader makes the decision alone and announces it. I'm repeating, in case of this first leadership style, that is decide, the leader, he makes the decision alone. That means he will not ask anybody, he will not even ask his subordinates or his employees or his team members. So he will take the decision alone and announces it or sells it. To whom? To the followers. So the leader may get information from others outside the group and even within the group without specifying the problem. So please see here, I'm discussing about the decide leadership style, okay? And then consult individually. Here, see the cursor, consult individually. So what do you mean by this? A leadership style. The leader tells followers individually about the problem and then gets information and suggestions and then makes the decision. Right? So consult individually means what? The leader will inform or tells the followers individually about the problem and then gets information from them and even the suggestions from the followers and then makes the decision. And then the third one, that is consult group. So it is something like participative style, wherein the leader holds a group meeting and tells followers the problem, right? And then after that he gets the information and suggestion and then he makes the decision. And then facilitate. So here what the leader will do, the leader holds a group meeting and acts as a facilitator to define the problem and the limits within which a decision must be made. So the leader seeks participation and concurrence on the decision without pushing his or her ideas. That is a role of a facilitator here in case of facilitate leadership style. And the last one is called delegate. Now what happens here, students? Delegate means the leader lets the group diagnose the problem So here the leader will allow the team members or the followers to diagnose the problem, and then after that he makes the decision within the stated limits. So the role of the leader is to answer questions and provide encouragement and resources. So these are, the five leadership styles, that is decide, consult individually, consult group, and facilitate and delegate. So you can see here normative leadership model variables. I'm explaining the variables here. So situation, time driven, that is decision significance. The followers, that is development driven and decision model, which is importance of commitment, likelihood of commitment. Then group support for the common objective. See what happens when you're working in the team. Your all the members who are there in the team, no, your objective should be what? Towards achieving that particular goal, which should be the organizational goal, right? And then group expertise and team competence. Now let me explain you this decision significance when it comes to time driven decision model. So what do you mean by decision significance here? That means how important is the decision to the success of the project or organization, and is the decision of high importance? We call it as H. Please understand the next diagram I'll be showing you. There you also you need to tell me the result. Okay, see the first thing, that is decision significance. How important is the decision to the success of the project or organization? And then the next question comes, is the decision of high importance? If it is of high importance, mark it as H, or if it has low importance, mark it as capital letter L. So when making highly important decisions, leaders should be involved, or leaders need to be involved. Okay. Next, we will come to know about the second thing here, that is importance of commitment. Please see my cursor here. See how important is follower commitment to implement the decision. I'm repeating once again. How important is follower commitment to implement the decision? So if acceptance of the decision is critical to effective implementation, importance is high. We mark it as H. So if commitment is not so important, it is marked as low, that is capital letter L. So students, when making highly important commitment decisions that followers may not like and may not implement, followers generally need to be involved in making the decision. Then we have the point number 3 here, that is leader expertise. See my cursor here, leader expertise. So what do you mean by expertise? How much knowledge and expertise does the leader have with the specific decision? See, something wrong happens in the organization, the leader should immediately jump in and his expertise should come into picture over there, right? So how much knowledgeable and expertise does the leader have with this specific decision? And his expertise, we have to mark it as H, or low, we have to mark it as capital letter L. See, the more expertise leader has, the less the need there is a follower for participation. See, if the leaders are expert in decision taking, then there is a very less role of the followers, because leader will be taking the decision based on his experience and expertise itself. Correct? And then we have likelihood of commitment, the fourth one over there under the followers. Now, what is this likelihood of commitment, students? See, if the leader were to make the decision alone, which is the certainty that the followers would be committed to the decision. See, when the leader will be making the decision alone, then followers would be committed to the decision. whether the followers will be committed to the decision whatever the leader will make. That is again a question, right? So when making decision that follower will like and want to implement, there is less need to involve them in the decision. So if the followers are really committed to the decision, or high level of commitment is there from the follower, then we mark it as H. And if the low level of commitment is there, then we mark it as L. Then see here, group support for objectives. So as I mentioned to you, so do followers have high or low support for the team or organizational goals to be attained in solving the problem? So if high level of support is there, we mark it as H. If low level of support is there, we mark it as L. See, higher levels of participation are acceptable with high level of support. And remember students, a project will be executed not by an individual. It is executed by the collective support of all the members of a particular group. So they all should work towards the common objectives. Okay. Then we have group expertise. So how much knowledge and expertise do the individual followers have with this specific decision? See, when we speak about group expertise, it is individuals who are there in that particular group. Their expertise collectively, we say it as group expertise, right? So, is expertise very high, we mark it as H, or if it is very low, we mark it as L. See, the more expertise the followers have, the greater the individual or the group participation can be. And the last, that is the seventh point, that is team competence. See, this is one of the common, thing. If the team is very competent, then the result will be very faster, very effective. So here, what question will come in team competence is the ability of the individuals to work together as a team to solve the problem is high or low. So with high team competence, more participation can be used. But what happens, students, whenever you are working in the team, a lot of factors will come. So should be you should be sharing the knowledge. That is very important. But what happens is a lot of ego factors will come. The team members will fight with each other. So when they fight with each other, when they cannot cope up with each other, ultimately the result will be going in a different direction. So team competence should be there, or more participation should be there among all the employees. So these are the 7 variables. But see, please understand, not all 7 variables or questions are relevant to all the decisions. All 7 or as a few as 2 questions are needed to select the most appropriate leadership style in a given situation. So whatever I explained you just now, I have put in the slide here. Now you can see here, problem statement. See, this model, that is normative leadership time driven model, the model is a decision tree that works like a funnel. So define the problem statement, then answer the questions from left to right. Okay, I told you, no, mark it as H, mark it as L. That means high and low. That's all. Okay, high and low. Don't get confused here. See, define the problem statement, then answer the question from left to right as high or low. So skipping questions when not appropriate to the situation and avoiding crossing any horizontal lines. The last column, you come to contain the appropriate leadership style. See, when I say the last column, these are this is the last column, that is leadership style. Whether the leader is decide, delegate, consult, or something like that. Okay. So the last column you come to contains the appropriate leadership participation decision making style for the situation. See here, let me take one small example. When the problem statement arises here, and decide significance. You can see here in the horizontal or row, that is decision significance. We have importance of commitment, there is a question mark, and leader expertise, and likelihood of commitment, group support, group expertise, and team competence. What are they? They are the variables, correct? So they are what? They are the variables. So now problem statement. If decision significance is H, I'll place here. If it is L, I place here. Then importance of commitment. If it is there, H and L. And similarly, leader expertise. Leader is expertise in taking the decision, high. Then likelihood of commitment by all the followers, high. Then group support is there? No, it is not there. Just an example, okay? And then uh, you can see here, that is group expertise, group support and group expertise is not there. And team competence is not there. So it comes in which? It comes in decide. Decide means what? The leader makes the decision alone and announces it or sells it to the followers. The leader may get the information from others outside the group and within the group without specifying the problem. Whereas here, what happens? See, group support is there. If it is high, then obviously, group expertise and team competence. Then it comes into delegate. Delegate means what? The leader lets the group diagnose the problem. Correct? Please understand the meaning. The leader lets the group diagnose the problem and makes the decision within the stated limits. So the role of the leader is to answer questions and provide, encouragement and resources. So we will just go for this second diagram here. That is the normative leadership development driven model. So the model is a decision tree that works like a funnel, which defines the problem statement, then answer the question from left to right. The last column, again, here we have the leadership style. So what happens when decision significant, high, importance of commitment, very high, whether leader expertise is there? No, nil. See here. And then we have likelihood of commitment, yeah, high. Group support is there, yeah, high. Group expertise is there, high. Team competence is there, high. Then we have a delegate leadership style. So based on this tree, we can and plotting the 7 variables, we can actually predict the leadership style. Okay, so this was about normative leadership development driven model, where the 7 variables, what we understood was decide, consult individually, consult group, facilitate, delegate. So these were the leadership styles, whereas the 7 variables, which included decision significance, then importance of commitment. Here, please see here. Yeah. Decision significance, importance of commitment, leadership expertise, likelihood of commitment, group support for objectives, and then group expertise, and finally team competence. So these are what normative leadership model variables. Okay, so using these variables, we can exactly in the last column, we can come to know the leadership style. So selecting the time driven or development driven model for the situation. Please understand, students, it is based on whether the situation is driven by the importance of time or the support by the followers. So the characteristics of the decision are focus, value, and orientation. The time driven model So here we majorly focus on what? Focus, value, and orientation. So when we say about focus, the three characteristics of time-driven model includes focus. So what is focus here? The model is concerned with making effective decisions with minimum cost. So time is very costly as it takes a longer for groups to make decisions than the leader alone. See, when a decision has not been taken very fast by the team or by the group, it can cause a huge damage to the organization, right? So always we tell, right, time is very costly. So if you delay in taking the decision, so probably the amount of damage which causes for a particular project, it might be very costly or very expensive. Then we have the time driven approach, that is the value, that is the second thing here, value. See, value is placed on time, and the value is not placed on follower development. See how quick we execute the project and give it to the client, based on that we have been paid or the value has been calculated. So value is always placed on time. Then the third one is called orientation. See, the model has a short term horizon. What we are studying now, we are understanding, selecting the time driven or the development driven model for the situation. Next we have the development driven model. See, the time driven model, we have the three characteristics, and even the development driven model, we'll try to understand and differentiate between these two. See, when we speak about the development driven model, more and more emphasis or importance is placed on development here. See, you can see here focus. The model is concerned with making effective decisions with what? With the maximum development of followers. So they believe that if you develop a follower, ultimately the follower development is worth the cost. Right. So they always believe in what? In the follower development. Then value is concerned, value is placed on followers, but here value is placed on time in case of time driven model, but here value is placed on follower development and no value is placed on time. Okay. And orientation is concerned, the model has a long term horizon as development takes time. So this is a short term horizon, but here it is a long term horizon because it requires time. But when once everything is set, so probably you will be getting the benefit from the development driven model, because the model has a long term horizon as development obviously will take the time, because value is placed on whom? On the follower development, and no value is placed on the time. Then we'll understood some of the substitute theory for this leadership. The four please understand, the four leadership theories presented assume that some leadership style will be effective in each situation, correct? So however, in keeping with the contingency theory, there are factors outside the leader's control that have a larger impact on outcomes than do leadership actions. But when we understood about the contingency factors which provide guidance and incentives to perform, making the leader's role unnecessary in some situations, what happened was, students, Stephen Kerr and John Jermier argued that certain situational variables prevent leaders from affecting the subordinates, that is followers, attitudes, and even the behaviors. Substitutes for leadership include characteristics of the subordinate, task, and even the organization that replace the need for a leader or neutralize the leader's behavior. So, substitute for leadership, please see here, which includes characteristics of the subordinate, task, and organization that replace the need for a leader or neutralize the leader's behavior. Then we have substitutes and neutralizers. See, substitutes for leadership makes a leadership style unnecessary or redundant. For example, students, let me take an example. Highly skilled workers do not need a leader's task behavior to tell them how to do their job. Correct? Whether you require leader for a highly skilled worker? No, because he know what exactly should be done. So he'll be performing his task perfectly. So he do not require anyone to monitor, or he does not require any leader to guide him. So neutralizers reduce or limit the effectiveness of a leader's behavior. For example, students, managers who are not near an employee cannot readily give task directive behavior. So substitutes mean for leadership, make a leadership style unnecessary or redundant. Highly skilled workers do not need a leader's task behavior to tell them how to do their job, whereas neutralizers reduce or limit the effectiveness of a leader's behavior. For example, you can say managers who are not near an employee cannot readily give the task directive behavior. So substitutes for leadership variables, we will understand now. See, when we speak about substitutes and neutralizers, some of the following variables may substitute or neutralize leadership by providing, the task-oriented direction or people-oriented support rather than a leader. So when we say characteristics of followers, what should be the characteristics of a follower? His ability to should be there, knowledge, experience, training, and very important is need for independence, a professional orientation, and indifference toward organizational rewards. Then we have characteristics of the task. So a follower can become a leader if he has got the characteristics, all these characteristics, that is clarity and routine, then invariant methodology. Then very important, a leader is one who takes a feedback, provision of own feedback concerning accomplishment. And so what do you mean by intrinsic satisfaction, students? See, if you perform any job, you should have self-satisfaction first. Yes, the job what I did today is satisfactory for me. Sometimes what happens is you will get instantaneous result immediately. So for example, when you perform any job on a particular day, you yourself will not be satisfied with that particular job. Okay. Then we have characteristics of the organization. See, formalization, that is, when we speak about formalization, that is explicit plans, goals, and areas of responsibility. Inflexibility, which is rigid, unbending rules, and even the procedures. Highly specified and active advisory and staff functions. So organizational rewards not within the leader's control. Spatial distance between leader and followers should be there. So these are some of the substitutes and neutralizers. So what we understood from all these models here is leaders can analyze their situation and even better understand how these three characteristics substitutes or neutralize their leadership style, and even thus can provide the leadership and followership most appropriate for the situation. Well, please understand, students, the leader role is to provide the direction and support not already being provided by the task, group, or organization. The leader always fills the gaps in leadership. So like what we earlier studied was, Fiedler suggested leaders can change the situation rather than leadership styles. Thus, substitutes for leadership can be designed in organization in ways to complement existing leadership. So when we have to always keep a backup ready in any organization, in any country, for that sake. Suppose today a leader is there, who is the next substitute for him, right? So thus substitutes for leadership can be designed in organizations in ways to complement the existing leadership, to act in a leadership absence, and to otherwise provide more comprehensive leadership alternatives, right? So one approach is to make the situation more favorable for the leader by removing the neutralizers. Okay. Another way is what is to make leadership less important by increasing the substitutes, such as job enrichment, self-managing teams, and even automation. Okay, so I'll end the session here. This almost completes your the third unit, which is almost 67 slides. I have put here, complete all the information related to various theories. So I hope all of you have understood, and I expect you to complete your notes also, so that whatever we have studied, you should never forget, because you will be in a confused way. Okay. So thank you so much, students, for your patience listening. I'll end the session here.